Did you know bees can actually live in the Arctic? These Lapland bumblebees play a crucial role as the summer arrives.
I just didn't really believe people that they were telling me that bumblebees were flying over these great fields of snow at, temperatures below 5 degrees. And I started walking up the hill and I heard this just look behind me, and I was just fascinated, excited, wanting to learn more about how these bees can fly at just such low temperatures. Most bumblebee species came from around the Himalayan area, or at least the foothills of the Himalayas. And so these specialists that are here do very well in these cold conditions. Bumblebees are very important insect pollinator, not only in this region. Ecologically, these host plants depend very highly on bumblebees, but they're also a globally important insect pollinator. Much of the food on your table is pollinated by bumblebees.
Although they are only small, these Lapland bumblebees are vital to the whole ecosystem. But as temperatures in the Arctic rise, their behaviour is changing.
We're seeing high bumblebee activity, but things potentially happening earlier. But what we're also seeing is changes in the bumblebee community, and we're also seeing changes in how they potentially interact with the plants that they depend on. And how that changes those interactions might have consequences, long-term consequences, on the health of this ecosystem and the flowers that are not only important for bumblebees, but important for other animals, such as the reindeer in this area.
We still have much to learn about the complex interactions between species. But we do know that changes to one can cause far-reaching chain reactions.
Today, we study the plant community on this mountain that was studied 100 years ago, before most of the climate change has taken place. So instead of having to design an experiment into the future, we can take a snapshot of what things look like today and compare it to the past. We can see those changes everywhere in this landscape. Lower in the valley here, we have a birch forest. It's 300 meters higher upslope on this transect today than it was 100 years ago. What's important about the tree line moving up is to remember that mountains change in a geologic timeline. These mountains aren't getting bigger. So that means if the tree level is rising, it's just like the ocean rising. The alpine plants that people love to experience when they hike in the fjell, where will they go when the tree line has moved up to the summit of these mountains? We can see how the changes that are impacting the plants may be affecting the bumblebee.
Bees and plants have evolved together over millennia. But as our climate changes, these ancient relationships are falling out of sync.
I think one of the biggest problems is that we've started to recognize how important insects are for humans, but we know nothing about them. So as the Arctic is the canary in the coal mine, transforming very rapidly right now, we really have no idea how it's going to impact these species. And I think for many of those things, it's going to be after it's too late. We're only studying these little spots here and there. We never thought 20 years ago what the implication of warming would be for insects. We never considered that.
The fate of the Lapland bumblebee is now in the hands of changes to the global climate, which is something we all play a part in.
As a father and as a scientist, I am worried about the effects of climate change and other human-induced pressures are having on biodiversity. And I want our work to make sure that we can inform conservation strategies, and that when my son grows up, I've done my best to try and help sure that we do protect biodiversity, we understand the effects of climate change, and we can mitigate it in some way.